What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. In this video, guys, we're going to be talking about tips on how to land any job. Um, this is coming from someone who has been working since 2017. I started working when I was 17 years old, and I am about to be 25. I have worked about 5 jobs in my lifetime, guys, and I have interviewed at many places. I've even worked 2 jobs at the same time. So I have lots of experience with job interviews. And let me tell you guys some tips on how you can get hired at basically any job that you're looking to get into. Let me just say, as a little side reference, guys, um, that if you need a type of certification, if you need a certain type of schooling and stuff, you have to go get that. This isn't going to be um, something that you can go around. So if you need a certification to get into a job, or if you need special schooling, this video isn't going to help you out. You need to go do your education first. But if you already completed your education, or you're trying to just get a regular job, some of you guys might be trying to get into your first job even, this video will be beneficial to you and it will help you out. But anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed. Let's jump on into the video. So the first thing I wrote down, guys, is a very important one, and I feel like it should go without saying, but at the same time, you won't even believe how many people don't do this, and I actually decided to include it in this video, which is do research on the company you're interviewing at, guys. This is so important to do. Like, if you're applying at a store and you've never stepped foot in that store, you should probably go visit the store and walk around and see what kind of stuff they sell, or just go on the company website and look at what kind of stuff they sell. If it's a home improvement store, they're gonna sell home improvement stuff. If it's a tech store, they're gonna sell technology stuff. If it's a computer store, video game store, etc. Do your research on the company you're gonna be interviewing at. In fact, I would say do research on anything you're even thinking of applying at, because if you apply at something, let's say you apply for like a tech job, like a technology store type job, and you know nothing about technology, you're probably not gonna, I mean, unless you like learning, you're probably not gonna be a good fit for that job. Let's be realistic. So do your research, guys, on the jobs that you're applying at, so that you're not like bombarded and confused and struggling to like fit in. The next one I have, guys, and this is like another one, but this one is something I do every single time I have a job interview. And the fact that people don't talk about this kind of shocks me. Study interview questions. If you have an interview, and especially if this is like your first time at an interview, you're gonna get nervous. You will be nervous. So study interview questions. They like to ask, why do you think you'll be a good fit for this job? Do you see yourself advancing up in the company? What do you bring to the table? Like, what kind of skills do you possess? What kind of, like, physical actions can you bring if it's like a physical labor job? Um, those type of questions. If you Google it, you'll get like a whole page of questions that job interviews will ask you. I definitely recommend just writing some down and keeping them in the back of your mind and just answering that question. That way, if you do get nervous, you kind of like know, oh, this is what I wanted to say. Let me say this. Because when you're trying to make stuff up on the spot and you're nervous, you tend to say stuff and you're just like, you cringe back at it. And you say, man, why did I say that? Like, for real. So yeah, study interview questions, guys. The next one, be positive and show interest. This is gonna go a long way when you're going to a job interview, and just being positive and showing interest. Lots of people go in there positive, but they forget to show interest. Like if you're going into the job interview and you're all happy and stuff, that's one thing. But if you're going in there and you're like just happy, but you're kind of like sounding like a robot, and I'm trying to like sound like a robot, but I have too much charisma. Let me try to like bop myself down. If you talk in a monotone voice like this, and you talk like in like a slower rate, kind of like this, and they ask you like, let's say they ask you, where do you see yourself in 5 years in this company? And you say like, well, I see myself, I can see myself working, let's say it's like a sales type job. I can see myself working the floor, selling to the potential customers. That person isn't being positive, and you're also not showing interest. Showing interest could be saying stuff like the fact that you went above and beyond and you did the research on the company. And, you know, like if they say something about the company, you just say like, "Oh yeah, I remember I looked that up." Or if they say something like, like, "Oh well, we're open on this, like our hours are this and this," and you say, "Yeah, I remember I saw that when I was like researching a company." And then you can also um, do another thing which I wrote down as well, which is ask questions. So that's showing interest. Asking questions. You know how many times people go on interviews but they don't ask questions? That's a very important thing to actually do when you are at a job interview. And lots of people don't do this. You don't have to do it at the end, because at the end they do ask you, do you have any questions? Um, I've never personally done it at the end myself, unless I had like a question that I didn't ask in the middle. Like I always bring a few questions with me and I'll throw them in the middle of the interview because it shows interest. So like if they're talking about something like a policy in the store, you can ask like, "Oh, why is it this way?" Or you could just be like, "Have you ever thought of like, have you ever thought of doing something like this?" Or you could like kind of like quiz, not quiz them, but like get them to think like, "Hey, this person's on his feet and he's giving us maybe a new idea," which shows that you're like creative as well. So yeah, ask questions, guys. Um, and make sure it's actually something that makes sense and is beneficial to like you working there. If you asking like yes and no questions, then that's going to be kind of like 50-50. It's hit or miss with those. You want to ask like open-ended questions, which gives the person more room to use more words and stuff like that. And it also opens the conversation to go to a different route as well. The next one, guys, and this one should go without saying too, but dress appropriately. So I've been to many job interviews, guys, and usually it's dressing casually. So jeans and polos are probably the way to go if you're trying to get into a warehouse job or a retail job, or um, maybe even like, I'm trying to think of like another job. I haven't had like too many like different jobs in different fields, but I've had many jobs in the same field. Um, Maybe like a car dealership. Even you could wear like jeans and a polo. You don't need to wear suits. Back in the day, I know they promoted wearing suits to interviews all the time, but this day and age has really changed a lot, guys. I don't even like wearing suits personally myself, and I want to be an entrepreneur one day. I don't like suits, guys. I really don't. Um, Honestly, guys, I don't even like. I like wearing jeans and polos, but I kind of like sweatpants and like plain shirts. But I'll still wear jeans and stuff when you got to be professional, obviously. But I don't. I think suits are kind of too hot. But we'll see if I put on a suit and stuff. Maybe one day. But yeah, dress appropriately for the interview. If you're going to a store, don't wear sweatpants, and a shirt with a rock band on it. Try to wear like something plain with nothing on it and jeans. That's probably the way to go. And if you have like a collar shirt, jobs love that stuff. Now, obviously, um, you don't have to wear that all the time, depending on the dress code of your job. Like at my warehouse, you can wear whatever you want. It doesn't really matter um, what you wear. You could wear sweatpants, you could wear shorts, you could wear any kind of shirt. It doesn't matter as long as you're wearing something. But at other jobs, there are uniforms and stuff. So keep that in mind too when um, applying at places. I definitely recommend jeans and a plain shirt or just a polo shirt. It makes you look more human, and it kind of like doesn't give off any bad energy to the interviewer. The next one I have, guys, is speaking with confidence and saying what they want to hear. Now, you have to really play this off um, as if you're not saying what they want to hear, but saying what you actually do. So there's a difference between like saying what they want to hear and that's not who you are. They can tell if you're faking it. So at my second warehouse job, which I currently work at, when I interviewed there, I had a lot of confidence. I already kind of like knew I was pretty much gonna get in because I knew someone over there, but I knew that they liked positivity over there, and they liked the whole thought of community and feeling connected. So I used a lot of my, I used lots of big words as well, but I used a lot of like the stuff I was saying um, to shed positive. Like I was a positive person. I really emphasized that I was positive and I was motivated and I liked opportunities to grow. Those are like the three things I chose in that interview, and the interviewer loved it. Like they really ate it up, and I was able to get in just like that. They hired me on the spot, and it was like a hiring interview. It was a hiring event type thing. That's where I went to like go there. So basically, it was like an open field, anyone could show up type thing, and I got hired just like that, just because I played on the fact that I am a positive person, which I am, and I actually struggle with confidence. But in that moment, I felt really confident when I was speaking to that person because I knew I was like, well, I already know that because of what I know on this company, the fact that they like positive minded people, they like people that like learning and growing, which I like doing as well. I like reading books, I like growing as a person. And then um, opportunities and growing. They love people that are looking for opportunities. So I gave some examples of when I looked for opportunities and I took some opportunities from my old past job experiences. Now, for those of you guys who are just starting your career, you could talk about opportunities that you went through at school or opportunities outside of school in real life that you took and stuff like that. And it will be like the same thing. But also, you want to try to be as confident as you can. Try not to be super scared because when you're scared, you get kind of shaky. You start fidgeting more. You start sweating and stuff. And you get distracted from the interview easily if you're not confident enough. Now, I'm not saying you got to walk in and thinking you're like the next big deal. You might not be the next big deal. You might not be the next big thing at this company, but you know your strengths. Play to your strengths and stick to those strengths. And if they say another question, and I'm going to give you guys a bonus tip because this one's not written down. But one of the questions that they are going to ask you at an interview, and they always do this, is what are your biggest weaknesses? You want to make sure that you pick a weakness that can be flipped into like something good. So, like a weakness for me is I'm scared of asking for help. So, you want to like say if you're scared of asking for help, you could be like, I'm kind of scared of asking people for help because I think it's gonna make me look weak. but I'm gonna have to work on that and use um, keep this in my mind so that I could grow into being a team player more. So you could use that as like a weakness, or you could use like trying to think of another weakness that could be turned into a strength eventually. Um, let's say you're just not motivated all the time, which is kind of like really bad. You don't really want to say that, but you could be like, sometimes I get unmotivated, but just feeling the energy in this room kind of makes me excited because I feel like if I work here, I'll be even more motivated outside outside of work and inside of work. So try to make your weaknesses um, sound like strengths at the end of the day. That's one of the questions that they will ask you too. So make sure you always have at least one weakness because you don't want to answer that question with no, I don't have any weaknesses. You want to be realistic. You could be like, I know I'm not perfect, but you could say like being a perfectionist too is a weakness because you want everything to be perfect, but you understand not everything will be perfect and you will make mistakes and you will try your best, and when you do make a mistake you'll own up to it. That's another weakness that you could use that is flipped into a good light because they will see that you are one of those people that will take accountability for your actions. But yeah, let's get back to, we got one more thing to go through in this video, guys, and you guys will be ready to land any job that you apply to. Especially with the new year coming up, I know lots of people are gonna want to change their careers very soon. So the last thing I have is use at least 2 references, and I'm gonna add to it. Make it be people who have seen you in the last year of your life, and a bonus points to you if it's not in your family because your family is always going to talk good about you. Make it be someone that's not in your family because it kind of shows that you don't need your family to always hold your hand and say good things about you, and that you can get other people to say good things about you. And like I said, make it be someone that's seen you in the last year. The reason I say this is because um, people change. And like if you saw someone 3 years ago, they shouldn't be acting the same way they were 3 years ago. They shouldn't be the same person. If they are, then they're not growing up and they're not growing as a person. They're either staying the same, which is very scary, or they're relapsing. They're doing worse things than they were 3 years ago. So try to make it be someone that's seen you in the past year. Um, People that you could use as references, people that you've worked with, people who are your former bosses. You definitely want to use former bosses, especially if you have job experiences, because they'll talk about how hardworking you are, if you're always on time. Now, obviously, make sure that this person's gonna say good things about you. Don't use someone as a reference if they're gonna talk down on you and say like if you're always late to your job, don't use your boss as your reference because they can't lie. They have to tell the truth. If you're always late, they're gonna be like, well, this person's a good worker, but they're always late. So you don't want to have that thing like being said about you. So let's say this is your first job interview ever, and you do not have any person from work that you could use. Well, then who can I use if I don't want to use family? You could use family, but I recommend staying away from family just because, like I said, anyone can use the family. You want to be different. You want to stand out. And not using your family will allow you to stand out. So you could use your teachers. If for those of you guys who are still in school, pick teachers that see the best side of you. Like if you have an A in someone's class, and don't let it be a gym teacher, guys. Pick like an actual subject, like science or math, something tough. And if you're like doing really good in that class, use that person as a reference. If you guys do volunteer work, you can use them. You can use a neighbor even. Just anyone in your life. You could use family as a last resort. Like if you really have no one, then yeah, put down your family. They'll say good things about you too. I say at least 2 references, but if it's your first job, you only need 1. I mean, you really don't need to have 2. The reason I say to always have 2 is because it shows like, hey, it's not just one person saying this, it's another person too. But anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We're gonna go through a little speed through of what we talked about in this video. So this was tips on how to land any job. So the first one is do research on the company you're interviewing at. You're gonna wanna study those interview questions, guys. Google it and write down those questions and maybe even write down your answers. That way, if you get scared during the interview, you just go to your brain and say, hey, what was I gonna say? Okay, I was gonna say this. Be positive and show interest, guys. And by showing interest, another way you can do that is asking questions during or after the interview. And this will go a far way too. It'll make you stand out because you know how many people don't ask questions at all? A lot of people, guys. Dress appropriately, guys. Don't go around wearing shirts with Metallica or like any kind of singer because it could be, you know, people have different tastes in music and stuff, and you know, you don't want to be like wearing a shirt that of a group that person doesn't like, and then they're like, oh, I don't like that group, so I don't think I'm gonna hire this person. Speak with confidence and say what they want to hear. And by saying what they want to hear, make sure it's something that is actually true to you. If you're not a positive person, don't say you're a positive person. If you're a negative person but you're hardworking, just say, hey, I'm a hard worker. A lot of people say that though. So try to find something that's really true to you, but also something that's very unique that isn't true to a lot of people. And finally, guys, using references. That'll help you guys land any job. And like I said, guys, I've had many interviews. I have seen and basically, well, I haven't seen a hood at all, but I've seen a lot. And let's see, out of all the interviews that I have had, guys, I think I've only failed at like 2 or 3 job interviews. And technically speaking, one of them I could have got hired at, but the thing is, I was working full time at my first like grocery store job, and basically they didn't just want me working like closing shifts, which is what I was trying to do. I was trying to do like 2 stores at one point. I definitely don't recommend that, by the way. I know someone who has done that, and it was too much for him. He didn't like it either, I don't think. He did it for like a little bit only. But basically, I could have gotten over there too. But the thing is, like, they were looking for someone who could do mid shifts. And I wasn't that guy, honestly. Because, like I said, I was already working full time at a different store, and I didn't want to leave that job. But yeah, so technically, I've only failed 2 interviews, technically, if you think about it. But yeah, this is how you can land any job in this day and age. But I hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you guys in the next video.